Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English broadcast of South American Contenders. I am Bupasaurus here with a very talented crew, but I'm going to go over the teams first so you know what is coming up. So to start off today, we have Brazil Gaming House versus Looking for Org, which was formerly Encore. Two undefeated teams in Group A. This is for all the marbles in Group A, but that's not all we have today. We have Breakdown Gaming versus Looking for Tanks, which is an elimination game. And then we have Caverna versus Revolts, and I'm excited to see if Revolts is going to pull off the greatest U-turn in esports South American history. But that's just today. We got a lot of stuff on Sunday, but for right now, we're going to stick to Brazil Gaming House versus Looking for Org. So there's a lot on the line for both of these teams, not just the number one seed, but Brazil Gaming House is going for a record.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're going for it. The second team ever in the history of, we'll say, all the Overwatch to go completely undefeated in a contender season. The only other team to have done that before, Sydney Drop Bears, like 20-0.
Yeah, like last week.
Yeah,
yeah.
Exactly.
So it was a timing thing. It could have been first, but just because of scheduling, right? And so Hirix, my question for you is, are they going to get the sweep? And if not, why?
I don't think so. I think there's two things standing in their way. I think it's the two middle maps. I think Kings Row and Anubis are opportunities, big opportunities, I think, for Looking for Org to really make a statement. And if they want to be able to make a statement, it has to be right there. I think Anubis is probably going to be the one that I'm leaning on a little bit more. And I can kind of explain why more towards halftime where it might make more sense.
Cool. What about you? Same question, Ham.
Yeah, I think Brazil Gaming House, they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them because honestly, Looking for Org, they may have changed their team name, but they are still super hungry, even more hungry. I mean, you find yourself second place in the group, same series score, 4-0, with the very top of the entire region. You're not going to go for it. Everything on the table, leave it all out on the field. BGH has had, something coasting somewhat throughout this series. A lot of 4-0s. We expect them to play really well, but this Looking for Org team, they have battled their way through, and I think they're really going to bring it today.
So I'm going to read you a quote from one of the tank players, the off-tank player for Looking for Org, which is Swaron, and he said this about this matchup. Even if we are a new team taking on the best team of the region, we are really confident in our skill, and we know that if they want to win, it won't be an easy game. I love that. They're going into it hard, but Hirix, we talk about all the time how, Looking for Org needed to prove themselves. Each game is them proving themselves a little bit more. Have they proven themselves to you?
I think absolutely. They've definitely defied expectations coming out of the group stage, coming out of where they started initially in the beginning of this season. I think that it's really just a question of, can they continue to push the envelope? Can they continue to really extend the limits of what is believed to be possible for a trials team versus what is undeniably the juggernaut of South America?
So, Ham, question to you is, can they be the first team all season, at least this is the last chance in the regular season, to take a map off BGH?
A map, absolutely. I would say
you're saying absolutely. This is happening.
Map, I think, because look at what they've come through. They 3-2'd Breakdown, 3-1 Caverna, 3-1 Nocturnes. Oh, well, it's not a 4-0. Who does 4-0s these days? This is a team that everybody was saying, oh, look at the middle of the pack. Yeah, whatever. They're all kind of the same. To be able to claw your way out of the sardine can, straight through the aluminum, like fist through the cover like that, to come up second against BGH means you got a little special something. Definitely going to be looking at Lowlife to bring the thunder against, both Liko and Dudu. I think Lowlife definitely one of the strongest players to watch out for on this team, along with their off-tank Swaron and their main tank Matea. I think the synergy between the rest of them, between those three parts, I think could really give BGH something to think about.
All right, guys, so we're actually very, very close to entering this game, and so I think it's time for some predictions. Is any upset prediction coming in? Let's go ahead and start with Ham.
Upset, okay, that's going to be a little bit more tough. Man, this is going to be really hard. Maybe going to 5.
Maybe?
We'll say 3-2 BGH, barely squeak by.
Okay, I like that. What about you, Hirix?
I'm gonna say it's possible to go to a game 5. I still think it's gonna be down to those two middle maps, Kings Row and Anubis. Those are gonna be the biggest hopes for Looking for Org. I'm gonna say 3-2 as well for BGH.
Wow,
Oh,
you guys.
mind melt.
I don't think you're giving BGH credit. In order to be absolutely lossless in Contenders, they have to have discipline, and I think the discipline is going to show up here today, and I think we're going to see an undefeated team. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to call the 4-0 for BGH because I also love records. So outside of that, we have another important fact to know. And Hirix, you said this is on Kings Row. Looking for Org is 5-2, and they have actually an 80% win rate in South American Contenders on hybrid so far. They actually have a pretty high win rate on everything, but it seems like hybrid it seems like hybrid is a map that's very comfortable for them. So I think you nailed it right on the head. It's going to come down to Assault. It's going to come down to hybrid, and they have to win both of those maps. If they steal control, do you think they can win it?
I absolutely think that. I mean, when you go into Kings Row, I think a big thing that they want to do is just lean on the Hanzo, Zarya pick, just play off of that. They know that that's going to solidify team fights for them. So I think all said and done, if they can get through a control map, it could easily be a 3-1 in favor of Looking for Org.
Could be, but Godman really needs to step it up. Liko and Dudu are the Prophet and Birdwing of South America. They can play every DPS hero to an extremely high level. We know that Lowlife is a very capable hit scan player. Godman needs to show up for work.
All right, so let's see if everyone shows up for work, but I know two people who have, and that is our casters, the lovely and loquacious Lemon and LaFon.
Loquacious, don't know about that, but LaFon... Geez, this is the match that everybody has been waiting for Group A. First seed Brazil Gaming House, or as I like to call them, the Brazil Gaming Empire, undefeated. The analysts have said it, possibly the second team in Contenders history to go undefeated against Looking for Org, who are some trials champions, or at least second place champions.
I mean, it's the upstarts versus the established here in this particular situation, Looking for Org. We all know what we've kind of seen from them so far, but they're going up against Brazil Gaming House. It's the Titans of South America. We've said this nonstop since the very beginning of this season here in Contenders, and they look to finish off. If they come out with a 4-0, the only thing standing between them and first place and not dropping a map is a couple of regions a difference in time zones. Other than that, they have been the most powerful team here in South America, and hasn't been close, realistically speaking. So Brazil Gaming House, they have an opportunity here today.
The question we've all been asking throughout every opponent from BGH, who is the team who will give them their only map loss this season? And a second seed Looking for Orga might possibly be the team to do it. But on a map like Control, match history here, Looking for Org dropped a Control map versus Team Caverna, who is on the lower end of the bracket. So do you think that Looking for Org will be weaker on this map, or do you think it's more of a warm-up situation?
I mean, that's a situation we have with all maps, or all teams in this first map. How likely are they to finish off that first particular point? So it is going to be Lijiang Tower. We're going to get to that night market right away here, Lemon Kiwi. And as they enter on, the opportunity to be the upset comes in.
Still the 2-2-2 setup from everybody. Big difference here in the DPS department. Pharah and Widow from the side of BGH with a Pharah and Hanzo. Differences of snipers, differences of ultimates. You got an Infrasight versus a Dragon Strike. Both teams fighting for that middle control.
Yeah, they're just slowly trying to push each other out. The first snipe comes in as Lowlife will go down. So early on here, the advantage does go to Brazil Gaming House. So the Resurrect comes in, Lemon, and they're trying to brawl this fight right back out.
You cannot let Liko inside of this point. He's been the guy who drops these 5k barrages time and time again in the season. And now he's just starting to ward off the rest of Looking for Org as the first cap, not surprisingly, going for BGH.
I mean, that last fight there, it's super uncomfortable there for Looking for Org. They do get technically the first death. They do resurrect it back up, but by that point, you don't have the healing anymore. It's unfortunate, but what can you do? Brazil Gaming House, due to coming off the back of a couple of headshots on that Widowmaker, and they're able to come right back in and win that fight off dominant advantage. So Brazil Gaming House turned their early first pick into a fight win. And now the contest comes in.
Oh, it's huge. Can the Resurrect go in from Lukavi? But meanwhile, Lowlife very close to the Dragon Strike. Maybe they want to engage on this one. They see, because they lost Lukavi here to Dudu, trying to maybe float down back to Earth. That's 2 picks already for Brazil Gaming House, and the fight's already over for Looking for Org.
Yeah, looking for Org, they almost try and recontest that, but Lukavi goes down, as you mentioned. And an interesting thing here is that the Fire Mercy isn't really playing together, at least early on. Liko having Alamong, they force Transcendence out here, Lemon, and they're going to keep this fight going right away.
Ooh. Oh my god, I thought he was going to boop him off the map, but Liko coming in possibly with a barrage. Now that Transcendence is over, just have to worry about getting that DMAC onto Swarin. But meanwhile, looking for Org, have flipped the point, but that's because Brazil Gaming House, they gave it to them with the ribbon on top. Now Transcendence will keep Liko up during this barrage, but a self-destruct will ward him off. He'll have the concuss to get him out of position, don't even need it. Now he's going after the rest of looking for Org, as a Primal Rage from Neil will assist in the battle to deny the zone from the point. And looking for Org, although they flipped it, only 21% accumulated.
That was a really strange fight. Looking for Org are able to flip the point in their favor with only a Transcendence after they had lost a player, so that was odd. But looking for Org, they then dump a bunch of ultimates into a losing fight. Brazil Gaming House a little bit more efficient in how they come back in, and they pull out a lot of ultimates, so a retake is not really in looking for Org's future, though they take the DMAC right away.
Oh, that DMAC's gonna be big, and now they're following up on it. 2 kills already for Lowlife. And you can see Gonman still wants to engage. Maybe he can turn this into a winnable fight at 82%. Looking for Org cannot afford to lose any more picks, but a Transcendence about to be available here from Searchy. And taking out Neil is the start of something good here for looking for Org, as they've warded off Brazil Gaming House for now, but Brazil Gaming House only losing 1 member here could re-engage with that infra site available. Looks like they've actually completely reset. They'll give some free space here to looking for Org.
This is a really back and forth affair. Looking for Org doing a great job. They only use the Dragon Strike and they're able to turn it back in their favor. Lowlife popping off the Primal Rage. Gonna be committed here, Lemon, as they want to keep this fight going. Only doing some damage in the back line as Godman flying over the top, but due to able to take that pick off.
Oh, Mate just playing so aggressive, trying to ward off the Widow, trying to get after the supports. Meanwhile, a barrage is dropped here from Liko on the side. It gets rid of Lowlife. Is the Resurrect is there? Lukavi, and now a Transcendence from Searchy to allow that Resurrect to go through, as Brazil Gaming House has started their aggression on top of the point with a Primal Rage. A self-destruct for looking for Org, denies the zone only for now, as the point still in favor of looking for Org. This could be a close game, but Brazil Gaming House, Liko on fire, gets the DMAC, getting rid of the main DPS from looking for Org, and now at 90%, the recap goes in, and looking for Org don't have much time to waste.
Lowlife is going to have to contest here, or Mateo as well. Someone needs to get to the point. They are going to trigger overtime now, but this last fight is in effect, and they're down resources as they get the first kill.
And Honorado has a self-destruct. They could just deny even more space from looking for Org, but you're already missing Lukavi. That's 3 picks for Dudu, taking out the supports, and everybody who's left on looking for Org. Honorado with the cleanup. Brazil Gaming House taking a clean 102-72 for the first point.
I think a thing to note here, though, for if you're looking for Org is, yeah, you lost that first round, but you went toe-to-toe with your composition. You went dive composition into dive composition, Hanzo versus Widowmaker, perhaps, but other than that, it has actually been pretty much a mirror comp all the way through, and you took Brazil Gaming House, you retook the point, something that we have consistently called out through BGH's run through South American Contenders as something that is very, very tough to do, especially here on Lijiang, especially on Night Market. After they gain the point, they very rarely, if ever, drop that point back. So looking for Org, yes, you didn't take that first point, you didn't get that 9-9 fight, but you did put an actual fight with the composition you opened with. But looking for Org has to come back in here on your command center, control center rather, and just try and win out on this second map. As they get started, however, it is going to be looking for Org running that Pharah into the GOATS composition of BGH.
This might give them an upper hand, though. This Fair will be really good at warding off Dudu, who's not going to be having much. That's all going to be up to Liko, and look at this! He's already taken out. Lukavi drops 3 picks already for Brazil Gaming House, and they're already going to get the first cap here.
And Lowlife has managed to pick up a couple, so they are not going to get the full resources. They're able to maybe come back in. Lowlife is going to reset back with his team, as only tanks left on point. Brigitte to try and just chase out Dudu, looking for Lowlife, but Lowlife taking the quick reset there. An early fight that just ends up going down because of Hanzo taking out a Pharah from range, and then the Mercy flying into the hammer of the Reinhardt. So looking for Org already down in advantage as they try and recontest here. They're going to get a couple of switches up, but other than that, reset come in, Godman off the Pharah onto the Junkrat. They're looking for that first pickoff, for that first advantage. They might just look for that Hanzo to get it.
And looking for better shield break as well. This will give the advantage maybe to Mate when it comes to the tank versus tank war, but already a Dragon Strike launched in from Lowlife. looks like right through the middle of the map as a Graviton launch in response from Brazil Gaming House, but is the follow-up there, looking for Org. Live to tell the tale, and the shield is about to break from Neil, but they're walking right into an Earth Shatter. Looking for Org, need to be careful as a responding Dragon Strike comes in from Brazil Gaming House, forcing them to go to the right of the pillar. This is a messy fight, but Brazil Gaming House in the upper hand when it comes to the numbers, and a high charge Zarya from Honorado is going to finish this one up.
And that is such an unfortunate situation. Yes, the Graviton doesn't get anything, but they pull out the Transcendence. They're able to send the Dragon Strike in afterwards, do a lot of damage onto the already grouped up members, and they're able to come right back in. Honorado, we talked about it, that high energy Zarya is so very powerful, so very able to get a lot of damage, and with Liko pickoff, they're unable to really walk in already. Godman no longer available. They're gonna try and contest this back, and Earthshatter committed here.
Earth Shattered, yes, that was committed from here. Mate and Neil as well just launched one, but now you got the rally. Dudu's looking for blood. It's the Portal Combat coming in, and unlucky Godman just came back to the fight, and he's already back into the spawn room. 85% looking for Org. Now can only depend on Swarren's Graviton to flip this.
This is going to be last fight situation. We're not really going to see the Dragon Strike not available, of course. It's going to be the Riptire finding Alamong on the flank. As a Graviton is committed to keep them off the point here, Lemon. They're going to be unable to even touch, and it will be map 1 going to BGH. And a much, much different affair here on that second point.
Much cleaner, 100-0, and looking for Org had used that Graviton, but they had lost Lukavi, their main Mercy player, so really worrying about where that damage was, and they couldn't even combine that Riptire, which actually was used to take out a Lucio player, so not as much value than if you would have combined it with the Graviton. Missed timing there, but Dudu getting play of the game with the 3K as the Widowmaker, one of the most feared Widow players in South America.
I mean, what can you say? BGH, they live up to the expectations. They live up to the predictions. And now looking for Org, we actually, I mean, when we did the pre-show, we talked to the analyst desk and they mentioned, yeah, we don't expect looking for Org to actually take this in its entirety. We're working on them taking a single map, something that hasn't happened so far. So will looking for Org be able to bring this back, or will they have to sort of follow the rest of the first map and just kind of drop the rest of it all the way through? We will have until the next map to figure out, of course, but looking for Org, you kind of have to forget about that control center. You tried to run your composition, and unfortunately for them, it did not work. It was a case of every time you took a single fight, it was a case of like your Earth Shatter hit 4, but there was no one to follow up. The sound barrier was there to protect them. Even when you block the ultimates, like the Graviton Surge, Brazil Gaming House doing a great job. They don't commit everything to that Graviton. They actually wait till the Transcendence. They literally just pull the Transcendence out of the side of looking for Org and then come back in and use their ultimates after that. So they use basically Graviton as a bait, something that we kind of hesitate to sort of expect from teams here, something that, you know, teams that are perhaps less coordinated, more likely just dump all their resources to that one fight and then end up losing afterwards. So Brazil Gaming House really put an exclamation point on their gameplay and their sort of expectations that we kind of supposed to see from them here in this match today.
And I think looking for Org, we're more focused on the shield break. You saw how long it took them to get ultimates. Just feeding into a shield's not going to get you ultimate charge. We only saw one Graviton for looking for Org, and it was at the end, at the very end of the game. Even Godman on the Junkrat, you only saw one Riptire from to give him some credit, the switch did come in later on in the game, but took so long to get ultimates for looking for Org that maybe that's what they needed to break through that. But Control Center is one of the hardest maps to break through the initial choke once you do lose the point.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot to break down there in that first map, but it will have to wait till halftime because we're going into our next selection here. It will be hybrid, and therefore it will be King's Row. So from South America to Europe, it will be our map selection here. And I mean, looking for Org, they don't want to go into the half down 2-0. You need to come back and take this particular map, but King's Row, it's such a strange affair. We've kind of come to expect sort of an anti-dive composition on first, and then you kind of like roll through second and see what happens. They need to put an exclamation point. They need to come in swinging on that first attack and really try and bring this back in their favor.
Something I've noticed that's like, this is just being nitpicky. Like, BGH, it's hard to find a weakness or a crack in their armor, but when they run this 3-2-1 of the triple tank, double sniper, and single support on defensive maps like King's Row, I feel like this is their weakest comp that they love to run, surprisingly, on maps like King's Row and Rialto. And most of the time they lose these fights pretty handily. So if they do decide to run this on defense, maybe looking for Org could have an upper hand, at least in the composition department. But it's all about how the execution goes on most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, this composition, like that, as you mentioned, that solo support comp is not uncommon these days. We kind of expect, like, the Zen has been for the last, I don't know, year or so, the most picked support after Mercy. That's going to be kind of dropping a little bit further, as with the solo support comps, when you don't need that application of the Discord orb, you can kind of drop the Zen. There's not really that many burst ultimates these days either, as the Graviton Surge, Dragon Strike combo not nearly as effective or popular as we kind of expected. So to sort of see these tanky health pools run that solo support, it's not unexpected or uncommon. The problem is you need to actually be able to turn around on it. And while BGH do turn around on it, and yes, we are being nitpicky, they don't look the greatest with it. It is a weird situation where they, I guess the way to put it is that they win, but they win as shakily as possible. It's not really the dominance we've come to expect from them. So, will we see that kind of change here in this map? It remains to be found out, but King's Row is away. It is set up. It is in we go. So it is going to be Brazil Gaming House defending first, looking for Org. They have an opportunity here.
And the issue with the 3-2-1 is the sustain. Overwatch is a huge battle of sustain of your resources. How can you keep your teammates topped up when the battle gets longer? And as I called it, BGH running that 3-2-1 Alemão, the only support. And the spawns from looking for Org are so close that even if they lose a few members, they can keep their members topped up. And Godman picking off Liko behind the shield. The Resurrect is there, but this is the moment to engage from looking for Org. Already accumulated half a take. Godman is going to keep them from dropping down, fighting a yet another pick here from the assistance of Low Life. Looking for Org are looking so good on their attack.
Yeah, looking for Org doing a great job, and Godman pretty much the entire reason why Diva so expecting Honorado, that is, making sure to eat that concussive mine. But hey, it doesn't matter if you're knocked off the high ground if you're just going to take a bunch of rocks to the face anyway. So Brazil Gaming House is going to switch up their composition a little bit, but honestly, Godman, the actual MVP of that fight, coming with as much damage as possible, and then Low Life doing the cleanup. So it is going to be looking for Org taking it on their first push. And now towards Streets phase, they have the ultimate economy here, though Liko building close to that the Riptire ever so quickly.
And you see Brazil Gaming House, the 3-2-1, as we mentioned, already did not work. So this is when they love to switch back to the 2-2-2. They're tried and true, the Death Ball with a Sniper Junkrat. And this will maybe be a better look for them, as combinations not available quite yet due to Brazil Gaming House just getting the switch. But a Riptire already starting off here for the defense, swings around and gets the triple kill. This will stop looking for Org right in their tracks.
Looking for Org, they should probably be looking for a Riptire at this point, because, man, that one just walked into their entire team, no one to be found, and they just get absolutely destroyed by that tire. So, looking for Org, and Dudu is just going to camp the window, going to take that fight down, and that Resurrect will not be available. They will have to wait for it the old-fashioned way. Looking for Org stalled out yet again. So as fast as their first attack was, their second one has been stalled out temporarily. As the Infrasight comes online here, looking for Org now, kind of zoned in, and though the trade is there, will they be able to get the Resurrect off and keep this push going?
Well, looking for Org just have to be so careful. Now that their main threat is gone, their supports can actually leave and feel a little safer. Dragon Strike, Transcendence, a bunch available here for looking for Org, looking mainly for the Earth Shatter. That would be a great start for looking for Org. It slams down, misses, but it opens up a triple barrage from Godman as he's looking to advance the payload.
What an unfortunate situation there for looking for Org. It is a call that they're going to barrage into the Earth Shatter, but the knockup from the concussive mine from Liko just prevents it in its entirety. They do manage to get the team wipe regardless, so they will move this payload forward, but it is a little bit more expensive, I think, than they perhaps were kind of expecting. A little shaky at the end there, but looking for Org playing very aggressively. Though, Brazil Gaming House, look at Neil already having that Earth Shatter, having just switched that hero on the defensive turn. And Dragon Strike will be committed as they try and contest.
They really want this point B. They're starting it off. Neil's looking for the shatter, just getting the shield down for the kill. As a Riptire, Liko at the back. It gets shot down here from Searchy. But the battle for point B still continues. A Graviton launch from Honorado. And Is the follow-up there, though? It's Searchy here with the Transcendence, all the healing, but the follow-up is still there from Godman, coming down with just the free rockets with the Pharah. Now Neil is the only person standing in their path, and that will be point B for looking for Org.
And looking for Org, man, what patience from Soar, and an absolute beauty of a Graviton Surge. Looking for Org, they come in, they send the Dragon Strike, which, by the way, Lowlife has back already. And then they come in, they Earth Shatter, only takes down one. The Pharah is there in the air. The Graviton Surge comes in after the Transcendence. It's just picture perfect play from looking for Org, and they take point 2. Point 3 on the way here due to looking for that headshot and finds it.
Oh, is he gonna want to stay on that Pharah though? Dudu is such a scary Widow as a Dragon Strike just clears the lane, and Godman playing so aggressive, eats the dink, but the melee's the one who finishes him off. I love the way Godman has been playing so aggressive, a pivotal part of looking for Org, looking to finish the map. They're at 3 minutes and 45. This is an incredible time bank for an offense. Dudu's getting pressure from all angles, not being able to be effective. Liko has to switch now to the Tracer for that payload pressure to quickly get back to the point. Searchy has to use the Transcendence. This could be it, but the stall is still there from Brazil Gaming House. I believe the Reinhardt is still alive, but the barrage will end it right here for Godman and looking for Org, finishing, like I said, with a fantastic time bank.
Looking for Org will not need to ask for anyone to clap for them, because good lord, that was an absolute show on attack. They make Brazil Gaming House look weak. Something we haven't seen from anyone so far here in Contenders South America. Brazil Gaming House this season have been monsters. It's tough to emphasize just how strong they've been through the history of South America, and looking for Org on that attack round, an impressive showing. You know, due to a couple of headshots, it's cool, it's great, but if you don't actually get the team wipes, if you don't actually get the team kills, looking for Org are able to work their way through, and that was I can't emphasize just how good looking for Org has looked so far in attack on this map. Can they bring it back now on the defense and take that map win? Because again, that attack round just clean all the way through.
Could this possibly be the map that looking for Org shut down this streak from Brazil Gaming House? Like you said, they looked great, but mainly the way looking for Org are playing. The only way you're going to stop Brazil Gaming House is if you match that aggression. Godman's Pharah is sitting on top of Dudu's face as Widowmaker, and even you have Lowlife as the Hanzo climbing up and running after Dudu as well. So Brazil Gaming House have to be careful. Widowmaker.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
It's, I mean, I guess the only counter to Pharah is actually killing her, which goes for all the heroes, realistically speaking. Unless, I guess, if you're sitting in, like, you're literally sitting in spawn as Torb, hammering away at a turret, which I've seen a little bit too much of in my time in Overwatch. But it is going to be Brazil Gaming House. They're opening with what looks like Goats, minus the Diva with a Hanzo. Looking for Org, playing that Hanzo, no Widowmaker on their side, something that they've been kind of loath to do, so it is going to try and beat this attack around. They're going to try and find a better showing BGH here, and an early slow setup from themselves.
And Liko is set up on a crossfire. While everybody's taking their attention towards the left side of Hotel, Liko's going to be trying to find picks from anyone staking out of the shield from looking for Org. But looks like they're still holding their ground. They've dropped down their Diva, and they're rotating around to not give up too much objective time. But as I say, that one take already earned here for Brazil Gaming House, as looking for Org setting up their own crossfire with a Junkrat. But they have to deny this space here. Finally, Mate's going to drop down.
And as everyone knows, the counter to a high ground Lucio, or a high ground Junkrat, is actually Lucio. Everyone is very familiar with this particular thing, and Brazil Gaming House gonna play that in perspective. Alamang able to spam out the Junkrat from Godman. Godman unable to really do a lot of pressure into that backline with the Junkrat, and that will open that first attack, that first point for Brazil Gaming House. As fast as looking for Org was on their first attack, they're gonna be equaled by BGH. Now comes the early pressure on here through Streets phase. That's looking for Org trying to find their way back into the defensive posture. They're going to be committing the Riptire, but Lowlife goes down at the start.
Oh, Godman, let's see what he can find coming around the end, but is it spotted here? The supports might have seen it. Gets behind the shield and still finds a triple kill. Neil not able to save his teammates. As you can see, Brazil Gaming House quickly resetting.
We're gonna get a quick replay of that Riptire, because if there's something both these teams need to know here on this first part of Streets phase, is that a Riptire should not get a 3K. It does, both times, and now they're stalled out yet again. Liko taking out Lowlife, and they're unable to resurrect that because it was just used.
Alimong being very aggressive as the Widowmaker Shatter comes down. The Transcendence has to be used to keep everybody topped up for Brazil Gaming House on top of the rally. The Graviton here, used from Honorado, is the follow-up there. The kills are coming through. Mati trying to keep his shield up, and the Mercy just trying to die on cart as looking for Org. Had a pretty good stop there, thanks to the Riptire of Godman.
And Brazil Gaming House, a lot more efficient there in how they use their ultimates. They only use the Graviton Surge and Transcendence, I believe, as well as the Earth Shatter, whereas looking for Org, they throw a little bit more into it. They're able to get a couple of kills, but not enough to really turn that around. And Lowlife, as strong as it's been early on, has been being picked off by his counterpart on BGH. And so to be able to prevent that, they're going to have to turn that around. Here comes that Riptire from Godman yet again, Lemon.
Oh, right in the middle of a Dragon Strike, so unlucky. And Alamong even boops the tire away. Great use of the Lucio. Liko dinks on the supports as you finish him off. Oh my god, Liko is disgusting. Brazil Gaming House get point B. 5 minutes left to finish the map.
Liko now has been an absolute tear with this Hanzo, and it continues into this third point as Calero assists the kill. Lowlife going down yet again, so he's been on the receiving end of a lot more projectiles than he's dished out, and he will have to turn this back around as with 4 minutes remaining, the time bank isn't that different here. Liko on the high ground, kind of uncontested, and this cart has moved ever so forward. And now, not a whole lot left. Liko going down yet again, or taking another kill rather yet again.
Oh, there's Graviton, and there's the combination available here. Lowlife at the perfect ankle, and there's the pin out of nowhere. They had no idea, trying to hide from the disaster going on. But Mate doesn't survive that one, and they're going for the finish. Brazil Gaming House advancing the payload, just worrying about Lowlife here into the back. Very big threat here onto the high ground as Brazil Gaming House and a time bank advantage, but not by much. Looking for Org could stall this one out to make this more even, and Mate brings down the hammer. Does he finish off Neil as Calero brings the Transcendence to keep his front line alive, but they don't deny the resurrect from Lukavi, and the Dragon Strike clears the lane, and it clears the stall from looking for Org, and Brazil Gaming House managed to finish the map with a very similar time bank than looking for Org.
Ah yes, Kings Row, home of our favorite speedruns, coming to a charity event near you. It is going to be first BGH taking the defensive, and they go down to 323, and they're like, yeah, that's okay. We'll come right back in on our attack round, go much faster, 352, so they gain some extra time. In fact, both these teams with a very aggressive showing, and as much as I praise looking for Org on their attack run in terms of patience with ultimates, the same cannot be said for their defense. A Graviton Surge that captures a Lucio on point and nothing else, not good. To our end, that Graviton Surge is not the best showing, and then the Dragon Strike obviously not going to find a lot of kills. I mean, looking for Org, you're okay with how your attack went, but your defense needs a lot more work, and though they turn right back around, it's their attack again. BGH now have the opportunity to cement themselves a second map in our series here. BGH, a really, really good attack themselves.
And BGH is one of those teams that love to run Lucio. That's how they're trying to match that aggression from looking for Org. Alamong on that Lucio looks so good, especially how you can use the Lucio to temporarily boop away a Riptire and have give yourself just an extra 2 seconds to shoot it down. And that's been pivotal for Brazil Gaming House to counter Godman in that sense, who Godman now switches to the Pharah at the last minute. We've got double projectile in a sense, the 2-2-2 from looking for Org, but Brazil Gaming House go back to this 3-2-1. This is how they lost their fight so quickly last time.
And this time the Concussive Blast isn't eaten. They do knock someone off the high ground, so that early high ground pressure unavailable for BGH, as they're gonna have to reset here due to looking for that long flank. Trying to find those headshots, and nothing doing yet, but Lowlife picks up the first kill.
Oh, this is the objective time calling in for looking for Org. Lowlife winning the Hanzo battle. Conman messing with Dudu's head. Widow is not a counter to Pharah. Godman says no, but looking for Org. Pretty much have the point capped up, just getting the cleanup here. And this was just as clean as their last time they saw the 3-2-1 from Brazil Gaming House.
Yeah, BGH somehow not really being able to get their rotations properly with that composition. Again, perhaps this is the first time they've really been challenged with this particular defensive setup, but they lose point A as definitively as they did the first time around, as you mentioned. And it's going to be now the defense trying to set up here on Streets phase, and they don't have that Riptire like they did last time to prevent it. Actually, they have no ultimates here on this second part, so they're gonna have to win out with just sheer positional advantage.
Let's look at a big advantage to looking for Org. They're going to be way closer on their Graviton Dragon Strike combination. Brazil Gaming House, so Honorado's so quick on building that. He had actually built it just as quick as Swarin when he had swapped to Zarya in this exact situation last time on the last rotation. But now a shatter comes down from Mate. He's gotten a bunch, and you see the pin coming out of nowhere from Neil. Looking for Org, looking to sustain here onto this payload, as tons of ultimates are available. But you see, everyone wants to be patient. They want to keep that for the point B engagement.
Honorado kills himself with his own right click. It's an unfortunate situation, but the Zarya goes down and opens it up, even though that first kill did actually go to BGH, looking for Org, able to come right back in. And again, that's what Ultimate Economy will do to you. You're able to play a little bit more aggressively than BGH is, and now they have an opportunity to come out with that Graviton Dragon Strike combo and just win this next fight directly.
Oh, and there's Lico's Dragon Strike to at least seal off point B and a responding Dragon Strike. Now it's the Hanzo battle. This is so important. Lico now is going to have a crossfire, but Godman, great communication for looking for Org. They notice the threat, they seal it off, including pushing the payload to point B. So looking for Org, they invest the ultimates, and it pays off.
And they don't even need to commit everything, right? Like once they got that point, you're able to save the barrage from Godman. You're able to really have Mateo build that Earth Shadow for the next fight. And Lucavi, they're able to just rotate their support ultimates, do a great job. Calero uses the Transcendence in a lost fight. And it's going to be last point here with 20 seconds remaining. Looking for Org going pretty much through the map.
And Dudu just switched to Brigitte. He's not feeling the Widowmaker as much. He's not able to counter Godman. He's getting pressured too much, and now he wants to assist in the tank battle, aiding Neil to get these shatters down. Brazil Gaming House losing their main tank. Now looking for Org, looking to finish the map, and this is an overtime situation. Looking for Org cannot afford to lose a single member. They'll have Sergi dies, and he was about to get Transcendence. This is a big part of the upcoming sustain and stall, but they have to stay here onto the payload. Looking for Org are losing members. Dragon Strike to cut off the lane from Brazil Gaming House, and the sustain is here. Even Honorado has a leftover Graviton. Looking for Org. We're in the number advantage, but the payload will stop right here.
And that entire fight, Matei just absolutely unlucky. He hits that Earth Shatter, and Dudu's right there with that Brigitte. Hits the stun. The Earth Shatter is gone. No ability there, and though looking forward to get a couple of kills, they're in a bad situation with no ultimates. Sergi unable to get that final 5% for that Transcendence, and they're going to be content. They're going to have to be content with only 5 points. They do push it most of the way to that 6th, but now Brazil Gaming House 3 minutes and 52 seconds, and they have to essentially complete that map, that yellow box of victory all the way on 3rd. And looking for Org, though they do not finish the map, and I think they kind of wish they did. They are still in a great position here as they set up defensively. Kings Row has been a show, no matter what the outcome is here.
And BGH this is probably the first team in South America to threaten Brazil Gaming House. I've never seen Dudu get off of Widowmaker due to someone else giving him a hard time. Now going on to, he's been playing a lot more Brigitte to assist his tanks in the tank battle and making it hard on the tank line of looking for Org and opening the opportunities for Lico on the Hanzo, for example. As Brazil Gaming House, the winning condition is set. They have to finish the map. Can looking for Org have a fantastic defense enough to give Brazil Gaming House their first loss in probably the entire year on a map? But the defense is set for Godman on this Junkrat with a crossfire from Lowlife on the other side. Brazil Gaming House using the Lucio speed boost from Alamong to push the left side through Hotel, getting an assessment of where looking for Org was set up.
Godman a little bit less aggressive here on the Junkrat, trying to find that damage from on high, but getting flanked by Hanzo. Hello, Lico. As he continues to spam down, and it's going to be the DMAC on Swaren. Brazil Gaming House building towards that first tick, not quite there yet, but the advantage is slowly going back to them.
And almost a tick earned here for Brazil Gaming House. Lico just leaving the high ground to assist his tanks on the low ground. Mate is fortified here onto the point. Brazil Gaming House being denied this objective time. Lucavi doesn't even know where to look, where to fly to. Looks like looking for Org will hold for now.
Yeah, looking for Org is going to probably end up losing this eventually as Searchy finds the final blow, but Matei the tank on point going down as Searchy, walks away from the health pack, interestingly. Doesn't matter though, gets out alive. And they are going to reset here. They do pull off a couple of minutes, about a minute from the clock, so it is not a wasted point. But it is going to be now a defense look as Brazil Gaming House send their attack in.
And the Brazil gaming train is coming in with Elemonk's speed boost, already holding the mid part of the street as Godman coming from behind. Look how Brazil Gaming House have completely retreated from the choke point. Want to have as much area as possible to predict that Riptire, because that would have been a big ouchie, and they were able to shoot that one down. Now a Dragon Strike comes in for low life. That's going to seal off the main chokeway, the main archway that Brazil Gaming House want to break through. But look at the ultimate stacked on Brazil Gaming House. Opens it up for the Earth Shatter. Once he got that kill out to Mate, the follow-up is there. Brazil Gaming House win another fight.
Brazil Gaming House, they're going to want to retake that point. But again, if you're looking for Orange, you're a little bit uncomfortable. Their defensive alt economy has not been there. Godman with a really early Riptire before Brazil Gaming House even start pushing. It's a really odd choice, and it just puts them in a situation where they get no value from it. Honorado goes up in charge on that Zarya. They're able to build a Graviton. The Earth Shatter's right back in, and now Brazil Gaming House have put themselves in a position to try and capture point 2 right here.
Mainly, Searchy doesn't have a Transcendence for this combination. Dragon Strike coming in from Brazil Gaming House. The Sound Barrier used. Looks like they want to win this fight without having to use their combination. If they don't need to, the wipe is there. They only needed to use a Sound Barrier, and they make it through to point B. They have a minute 10 left to finish the map. That is not a lot of time for BGH.
Not a lot of time at all, but they do have a fight win right here. Calero, no Transcendence. And they have the combination, Searchy no Transcendence. Calero also without that support ultimate, but less importance as there is no Graviton on looking for Org's side. Riptire gonna be committed here. Brazil Gaming House try and walk in.
Oh, he's not taking the high ground, going through the flank. They're looking for it. Brazil Gaming House deny these ultimates because they're so good at disengaging. Now they use their Graviton Dragon Strike combination, clearing the way. A responding Dragon Strike. Interesting choice from Lowlife. Temporarily stops the push, but looks like they've still solidified themselves onto the payload. 25 seconds left. This is BGH's last fight to finish the map, and looking for Org, every pick matters for them.
Looking for Oregon, try and reset. They lose Godman here. The Transcendence is committed. This is last fight situation regardless. 10 seconds remaining here, Lemon. And this is do or die here. Earth Shatter committed to no one. What did...
Oh,
Mete
no.
just absolutely throwing that Earth Shatter out. There's nothing here as this fight commences.
Overtime is here. Transcendence from Calero keeps the front line up. This allows Liko to be so aggressive on this Genji. The swaps coming in. Dudu on the Tracer, not having fun against Godman's Brigida. Oh my goodness, looking for Org are about to hand BGH's only loss this entire season. They deny the fate of BGH being the second team in history with no map losses. Looking for Org, second seed in their group. We're the team to do it.
Sydney Drop Bears, you can keep your pedestal #1 in doing that, not taking a single map loss. BGH, they drop it here, but we go to the halftide 1-1, and it's a case of differences. Liko with that play of the game, and that will be looking for Org, putting an exclamation point. We did not kind of expect them to win this series, but having a map win and showing how strong they were in their attack rounds, there's an opportunity here for them now to actually come back into the series and take it all. So, it's not over yet. We're looking for Org, have to be feeling good about themselves.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have as much faith in looking for Org when it came to control. Them losing that to Caverna was a question mark to me of how they were gonna perform against BGH. We've talked about, are they warmed up? And Kings Row was just a statement of how prepared looking for Org were for BGH. And the casting desk, the analyst desk, have a lot to analyze and a lot to tell us. Gonna send it over to Boop, Ham, and Hurix for the analysis desk.
Thank you, Lemon, and we do have a lot to talk about, mostly on Kings Row. We do have one map before that we'll just kind of touch on. Hurix, you mentioned that they needed to steal control to potentially win this game. Do you still feel that way? they didn't. So
That's the answer. I think
Yeah.
you might be muted, dude.
Yeah, I am. I still think that their best shots were on these two middle maps. I think Kings Row, that was a big take, and I do think that control for them to win the series, I think that was kind of necessary. So I think going forward, their hopes of taking all of this as a set might not still be there, but going forward, they still have another shot at Anubis, and Kings Row definitely went the way of looking for Oregon in a big way.
Well, Lijiang was a 2-0, pretty much stopped. They got a couple free percentage points on Night Market, and then really kind of was quiet the whole time. Their DPS players, specifically Godman, struggling at points during King's Row as well. So what's your take on the DPS so far, moving from Lijiang to King's Row, Ham?
Big difference, Boop. So what we saw in Lijiang was low life on the Hanzo very often and Godman on the Pharah, which is what we would expect from this team. However, the way that they were utilizing both of those players in those roles, low life, absolutely, you saw he was hanging back with the supports. He wasn't really taking that, long distance duel against Dudu's Widow, which Hanzo would not win. So instead focusing on wearing down those tanks, taking the front line low to set up plays for Godman. However, and I mean, honestly, we saw Godman playing a disciplined Pharah game as well, hanging back in that little mini health pack area behind the point, shelling on. But it was just, the tank play, the synergy between Neil and Honorato on the side of BGG was just too much for a Hanzo, even a Pharah, to try and overcome. They just surged their way onto the point, and at that point, when your own tanks are down, there's very little, even the best DPS in the world can do. However, once we moved on into King's Row, that's when things really started lining up for LFO. Godman on that Pharah, man, he stuck with it on Streets phase, and so many times we see teams swap onto that hero kind of as like a maybe this is gonna work, like the rest of the stuff isn't really working, so we'll just go up, right? But instead, we saw that Low Life was making so much space for Godman there, and BGH kind of tying their own feet together a little bit, keeping the Junkrat throughout Streets phase. And we saw a massive money tire, 3K, but it didn't even matter in the grand scheme of things because the inherent weaknesses of that hero really came to show through.
Yeah.
And so Hurix, something that I wanted to talk to you about as well. So when we were talking about this game while it was happening, maybe it's because it is Brazil Gaming House, but we kept identifying things that Looking for Org weren't quite doing well. And that, would you say that this was Looking for Org playing better than Brazil Gaming House on King's Row, and that is why they won?
I think in some ways, absolutely. It's certainly on their attacking phase, it felt that way for certain. I mean, you look at some of the question marks that came up around Brazil Gaming House's defense, particularly. You look at the first point, not having that Orisa setup early on, not swapping to something that can deal with the Pharah early on as well. It took them a long time to adapt to that. Yes, there were some situations that arose later on where you see like the Hanzo and the Zarya not coming together quite the way you would expect to see, even with Looking for Org. I mean, you see some of their biggest combos coming together and you're seeing only 2 kills coming out at best. And that's not even with the Transcendence coming out to defend against it. I mean, Brazil Gaming House is a solid team. They know how to set up a lot of these engagements in a way that makes sure that they're not all in danger of dying to a big stacked combo like that. You're not going to see a lot of team wipes, especially when they do run that Lucio. They have a good way to disengage. They have great pivots, a way to shift the momentum back in their favor. I think that's a big reason why Brazil Gaming House does so well against a lot of these teams. It just comes down to the fact that they're just very seasoned. They're very well practiced together. There's a lot of synergy there. But I think on King's Row, especially, Looking for Org was just honestly the better team with the better composition.
Better composition definitely played a big part of it. And I think when you're talking about those kind of more linear maps, seems to be LFO's, preferred slice of pie. You have kind of the win condition visible to you. Oh, we need to get a few more meters to capture this point. What do we need to do in order to win this fight, right? Sometimes that was Searchy getting those last finishing kills. I mean, both of the Lucios from either side really doing quite well. However, one of the differences that I think we're going to see become more and more apparent between the two support sides is Alamong and Calero are fraggers. You could say the same for Searchy on that Zenyatta, but Calero, while Searchy gets finishing blows, Calero makes openings. We saw that even when they were running that dual sniper, who was it taking out Godman's Pharah? Zenyatta from across the map, triple tap. And so as long as, BGH continues to try and make room for their players, plays disciplined, I think, LFO, they still need to continue to dig deep because head-to-head, sometimes it's still not quite there.
And I think we saw that, Hurix, with that very last play. Brazil Gaming House, for the first time in a very long time, particularly Colero, who's been solid for the entire South American Contenders so far, that Transcendence was a bit early.
Yeah, I mean, there was two factors at play there, I think. I think what started it was just the excellent staggering that we saw from Looking for Org. It really threw the pacing off for Brazil Gaming House. You saw them coming back, one by one, sort of trickling in. And I think that's a mistake by Brazil Gaming House that you don't often see them making, because you'll see them, again, going back to their ability to disengage. They'll disengage from that kind of situation. They'll go ahead and say, okay, we need our last 20 seconds, our last 10 seconds so that we can go and have a really good push. Let's set things up. And that's where they excel. But to see them stagger in like that threw off their pace. It threw off a lot of their ultimates. We were seeing them utilize things like Earthshatter when realistically you wanted to see that more together and everything like that. So that they could actually go off of that. You need guys like Colero there as well to solidify kills. You were just talking about how Colero is a guy that makes openings. You need to make sure that he's there. But by taking him out of the fight, threw off their timings, particularly with Transcendence, and then they tried to kind of catch up in a way by using it very early on, and then they just didn't have it for the Graviton Surge, and that's where things quickly turned back around for them.
I think this could be the way forward, though, for LFO. When, BGH is like, we don't care about dropping a map. Yeah, no, man, we're cool. I guarantee you it's on everybody's mind, not just LFO, but BGH is definitely going to be smart and going into the half 1-1. First time all season, they're like, it had to be, the very last week of of the regular season, we drop our first map, right? And so, kind of those little bits of timing, it's like when you're running after a bus, you're chasing it and your body starts to fall forward and your legs can't quite catch up. I think it's a little bit of that.
So now, just to summarize everything, BGH, Brazil Gaming House, not going to get the record. They will not be the second ever team to go undefeated in map loss as well, or lossless in map victories. Or that's hard to say, but regardless, they're not going to do it. So it'll be the last time we bring it up, and Looking for Org proving themselves today that they belong with the big boys, the only team all season that will have an opportunity to take a map, and they did. So congratulations to you guys. That is a big deal. And I know a lot of other teams are seeing this and saying, I think we can do the same thing too. But let's see if they're going to be able to take it and put that cherry on top and take the victory as well. So you guys both say 3-2 BGH. I said 4-0 BGH. I'm already wrong. And I know a team that's trying to prove me wrong, and that is Looking for Org. But there are two people that are going to take us through the rest of that story, and that is Lennon and LaFon. Take it away, guys.
Well, your favorite maple syrup duo is back, and it's a 1-1 series. I thought it was going to be a 4-0. LaFon, where did you think this was going to go?
Where did I think this was going to go? I think if you're doing prediction, not putting a 4-0 under BGH is always a mistake. But Looking for Org, I mean, I'm so happy because as much as it's fun to watch a team's dominance like Brazil Gaming House has done through South American Contenders, we talked about it through the first map, we talked about it through the second map, we've talked about it in previous broadcasts. It is always fun seeing a Titan being dethroned, and BGH, they looked a little bit shaky on King's Row, I think, a little bit inconsistent, even with all the mistakes Looking for Org was arguably making. So a great job for them on King's Row. So we head to our next map. It's going to be Assault. It's going to be Anubis. And it's Looking for Org's opportunity here to really come in and show what they're made of.
I just love this evolution of Looking for Org, or formerly Encore. They were relegated into Trials last season. They made it out of Trials, and now they're second in their group, possibly in a situation to take first seed away from Brazil. Ooh, ouchie. Possibly able to take first seed from Brazil Gaming House. It's 1-1. They've given the best team in South America a hard time. We're here on Anubis. Looking for Org is on attack, and they're running the 2-2-2. Godman not feeling the Pharah, immediately on the Genji now.
It's going to be a reset again. Running far on this particular map into a Widowmaker is so tough. There isn't really a lot of Skybox, and Liko finds Searchy for the second time here. But that said, it's going to be really tough to run a fire when the Skybox is so hard to really play in. It's limited. Your fire is going to hit the top of that really easily. And then the Widowmakers, they just click on their head as someone so generously reminded us, just click on her head. And that will be why that switch comes in. Now, they just are posturing for positioning. Brazil Gaming House trying to see what the advantage is looking for Org, looking for an opportunity. And the dive will commence.
And they started off towards the right side. Lowlife, though, loses that Widow battle. Dudu is not going to have so much freedom for target practice. Now going after the supports. Do you really want to pick that against Dudu, which wasn't able to finish off that kill? And now it's the tanks from looking for Org. Going after Dudu, pressuring him, not allowing him to go for these picks as much as he would want. Godman coming out of spawn, looking for Org. Now already don't have the numbers they would like to keep this fight going. And that's 2 picks. Taking out Lukavi with the Rip Tire. Taking out Godman from spawn. Looking for Org, probably need to reset here.
Looking for Org, they do get Dudu at the end, so it will be that Widowmaker unavailable. The Resurrect does come in as Swarn unable to really contest that Resurrect, so he does try and get out. As D-Mech will not be in time, so Swarn will survive with the mech, giving them some time. Lowlife going down yet again. This is something we highlighted on the previous maps. Lowlife did not want to take that Widowmaker versus Widowmaker battle. Oh boy, Dudu, another final headshot, and that will be a final blow. But something we highlighted in previous maps, Lowlife not wanting to take that 1v1, and it's showing here.
But Dudu's been feeling the Widow a lot more. King's Row, he actually had to swap off of it, go Brigida. But now Lowlife on this Widow matchup, not having as many wins as he would like. And that's because Dudu is just staying behind cover, has the infra site available, waiting for the push from looking for Org to come in. Activates it now, has a friendly neighbor on the other side. Has to be careful of Swarn, who's going to dive him. And here's the backup from Brazil Gaming House.
It's going to be Godman trying to pressure, but there's the concussive mine. And that will nullify it all. Dudu with another final blow. And this man has been an absolute monster on the Widowmaker. Riptire committed Lemon. And they're trying to win this fight right back in.
Oh, waiting for the baby diva, not even going for that kill. They're looking after the supports. Can Lukavi get away? Finds Searchy instead. Resurrect is there, so not too much of a boo-boo. Looking for Org, looking to engage, and they'll have the Dragon Strike. Uses it while using the Transcendence. Still goes after the backline. Can the Transcendence Coglero keep it up? But it's on Arado that full counters the Dragon Blade. Looking for Org, or not having any success on these pushes. And we're down to the last minute, Lafon.
Godman, I have some questions. Dash slash with a mercy boost is an insta kill on 200 HP targets. Why didn't you do that on the Junkrat, on the mercy? I don't know. Questions there. They lose the Dragon Blade, they lose a Transcendence, they do pull out Calera's Transcendence, but not a lot of value gained. They do have the Infrasight, but that's all they've got to work with, and we are in last fight territory. 26 seconds remaining on the clock.
Godman now onto the Tracer. Lowlife has activated that Infrasight. They know exactly where not only Dudu is hiding from. Maybe this could give an advantage here to Lowlife, who finds Liko hiding, and that's gonna get resurrected right away. Almost could have gotten the shots. That's a pick you need to get. Mate is there here for the finish. Looking for Org in their last 5 seconds. Could get point A, but it's taken them so long to get here, and it's a clean team fight win for them.
So they do finally get the final blow. Lukavi will go down to the Pilot Diva, as they will capture point A, but it was a struggle to get there, and Brazil Gaming House are more than happy to give that up. As they get reset for point B, Dudu off the Widowmaker onto the Brigitte. It is going to be point B getting unlocked, as looking for Orc going to get a couple of swaps. And Godman also going over to the Brigitte himself. So no Widowmaker on the board. It is going to be tanks versus tanks, as we get set for point B, Temple of Anubis.
And good swap from Dudu, probably because Godman was on the Tracer before. Down to Brigida versus Brigida, as you said. Junkrat versus Junkrat. The first tire here comes out from Liko towards the right side, exactly where the push is coming from. Somehow Lowlife is not with the rest of his tanks. Maybe this could get resurrected. Looking for Org, still looking to engage.
Now Liko's going to switch off there. The Junkrat, not what they want here into this tank composition. There's going to be the Reaper instead. The Resurrect is there. They're going to want to engage right away. And slow push seems to be the name of the game. Gonna be looking for an early play. Junkrat sets up, and the fight gets going.
And the Transcendence here available for looking for Org, and Liko loves this Reaper on point B. Such a pivotal part of their defense, breaking down the shield. Transcendence does wear away for looking for Org, as now the tanks are taking heavy hits. They're wounded. Liko is destroying everybody on this Reaper before he falls. The Transcendence from Brazil Gaming House will keep them up just for now. And looking for Org are puncturing through the shields and the armor of Brazil Gaming House almost at a tick, and a Riptire available. It was a Graviton use from Honorado that only traps one. The pin is there for the finish from Neil, and Liko popping off as the Reaper, and Brazil Gaming House have wasted a lot of time off of the offensive clock from looking for Org, but they do manage to hold, only giving up 38%.
Only can get 38% for sure, but again, that's a tick that you're gonna prevent. They want to get, you know, as much as they can. They don't use as many ultimates. They use the Transcendent, so that's really about it. They're building towards their next set of abilities here, as Liko not nearly as effective on the Reaper as he wanted to be, as the Riptire is gonna be committed in this next fight.
Going through the top, does he go for Liko? Yes. Is it going to be resurrected? Brazil Gaming House don't want to go for it. A Graviton long range launch from Suarin. And you can see Alamang is trying to boop away the follow-up coming in from looking for Orc, who also used the Earth Shatter. That's a lot of ultimates. And already your tank line is gone for looking for Orc. And they're still looking to engage down from 4 minutes to their last minute and a half. Can they finish the map is the real question.
Honorado caught in a corner. He's going to be taken out. And now it's just a Lucio contest something. Oh, that's an RKO out of absolutely nowhere. Neil with the kill. They're building progress, though, as Alamang has continued to contest that Lucio. Just an absolute nuisance. And they need to kill him or they're going to just be prevented from doing anything whatsoever.
Graviton launch, but Liko has to use the Death Blossom in the backline. It's not gonna have any bullets into the shield of Mate, and they were not able to touch. Looking for Org, managed to finish the map with a minute left. And it was a question whether they were gonna do it or not. They looked much weaker on this map than they did on King's Row.
The question was on first point. I don't think second point was nearly as hard as we kind of expected it to be. Liko, who's played the Reaper all the way through second point Temple Anubis, has been a consistent pick for him, just not doing a whole lot. An excellent job by Godman on the Brigitte to just zone him out, unable to really do anything. And who cares if your Hellfire shotguns can pump out a lot of damage if the damage doesn't reach the target? They zone him out. And honestly, the one from BGH doing the most work was Alamang contesting for as long as he did on that Lucio, just being an absolute nuisance. A couple of highlights here. Neil charging in with the shoulder charge, finds a kill, but really that's about it. And I think looking for Org, they turn a couple of fights in their favor after losing both supports. A very strange showing, but one that ends up working nonetheless. Graviton surges from Honorado have not been good here so far. I think in terms of the entire series, the weakest link has been the Zarya Graviton surges. Not a lot of great looks, and Brazil Gaming House off of some questionable decision-making on that first point and second point alike, losing out fully. So they will have their attack run here, but they make things a lot harder for themselves than it needs to be.
And a mismatch that happened, you kind of saw even Honorado physically turn towards Liko, like, where are you going? When they had the Graviton Death Blossom available, he had even used the Zarya bubble onto Liko to protect him during that ultimate. He actually decided to go back towards the spawn. I think he was getting chased by somebody. And then the Death Blossom had little to no value, and even if he was closer, I'm not sure, because they had, looking for Org had Mate's shield up, so looking forward, they made those fights really long, but at least they finished, but only with a minute time bank. There's a very possible snowball scenario Brazil Gaming House to finish with a much better time bank to give them an advantage.
Brazil Gaming House just opening straight up with dive composition, low life back on the Hanzo. Again, we highlighted Widowmaker not seeming to be his favored hero, and it's going to be an aggressive first push through as low life trying to spam out, as is Godman, already 50% to that Riptire. Looking for Org, trying to find that first defensive hold here. Brazil Gaming House looking for that aggressive engage.
Oh, Lukavi already has to disengage Liko, looking for support. Blood has a Mercy right in front of him. Get her! Hunting for mercies, let's do it! And going after Lukavi has been already a tough scenario, getting almost too bloodthirsty, getting punished for it. But Brazil Gaming House already have 2 picks. They finally do finish off the main healer for looking for Org. And Honorado with a triple kill. We don't get to highlight off tanks a lot, but Honorado, one of the best off tanks in South America as well.
Yeah, Honorado doing a lot of zone pressure and looking for Org with a really strange rotation, I think is a fair way to put it. They put their supports on the left-hand side from their perspective, and they get zoned out. The tank's unable to really take any pressure away, and the DPS now, as a result, unable to really turn anything back to themselves. Low life off the Hanzo, switching the Tracer. They want to find that kill. They need that first pick to end this push.
Oh, and he needs to hit those shots too. You need to one-clip these supports. Dudu is there for the backup, still on this Widowmaker. He loves to usually switch to Brigitte when things get tough. And meanwhile, Godman already picks off the main tank here with the Rip Tire. Neil is down. Does Brazil Gaming House still engage now? They've lost 2. The reset is in.
Yeah, the resets are in, and a great right click there from Searchy. Dudu, we get the perspective of the volley. It is going to be a reset here. Low life on the high ground, playing that Tracer. Something we haven't seen a whole lot of as of late. Dudu going to go to that counter, to that mirror rather. Not a counter necessarily, unless, of course, you're far and away better. It is going to be BGH resetting as they set up on this dive composition. No mercy still here for the offense, so they have 4 ultimates. They're loaded for bear as they want to walk in here with the Dragon Blade most likely.
Godman taking a page out of Lico's book, using that Reaper on point B. Lico, though, looking for the juicy blade, but gets caught right in the middle of a Graviton here, launch from Suarin. Colero dies, who actually had the Transcendence, not deciding to use that one, wants to save it for a more winnable fight.
Do you think they heard me about the Graviton surge? I feel like that was a much better Graviton than anything else that we've seen so far. He dodges the deflect, he dodges the matrix to make sure that he catches at least 3. The kills are there. It's a reset, a one ult win. And now they pull some more time off the clock, so it's stalling out and looking for Org. Have an advantage walking in.
5 minutes left though, and now they're going to use the Sounder and the Speed Boost to come right in, putting Lico in a position, but actually Matei puts him in a really bad position up against the wall. Now the self-destruct used from Autorado pushes looking for Org all the way back to the point, but this is still a one fight for looking for Org, and Brazil Gaming House having a hard time.
Surely Honorado switches. I mean, you don't throw that self-destruct in after a fight is lost, unless there's some miscommunication or call for something else. He's gonna stick with D.Va, but definitely a questionable self-destruct there. They throw away some ult economy, and looking for Org are gonna build off the Earth Shadow. It's really all they've got. As that's a final blow that is just not gonna be resurrected. Brazil Gaming House playing fast and loose with their with themselves. A very strange look yet again.
Brazil Gaming House, I mean, they've lost Lico several times at the start of fights, and I don't think this is Lico being out of position. I think looking for Org are looking for him. They know they have Blade. They want to shut down that opportunity that Brazil Gaming House are setting up.
Yeah, I mean, Brazil Gaming House, they're pulling time off the clock. They still have an advantage, 4 minutes, but again, they have ult economy and they're just not taking advantage of it. Swarn nearly up at that Graviton Surge yet again. They still have the Earth Shadow. They still have the Reaper ultimate, that Death Blossom. Godman has been playing super aggressively. He's gonna find it.
Oh, it gets Matrix, but they still get that kill onto Colero. A huge part of this, but look, Lico doesn't care. He's so impatient. He's been holding this blade for like 1,000 fights, and now he gets caught into a Graviton. That's a big counter to a blade right there. Just grab him.
Yeah, that's gonna be a situation here as this fight commences. The kills are not coming through for the defense. Offense is finding a little bit more advantage here, Lemon, trying to finish this fight out.
But looking for Org, trying to sustain, trying to burn as much time off of the clock. That's 3 minutes and 30 here for Brazil Gaming House. Finally, Colero joins back the fight with the Transcendence, giving Brazil Gaming House the upper hand in the resource battle. And the cleanup, though, still here. Brazil Gaming House now the Soundbearer left over, looking for Org, just looking to just shave off some time. This is not a winnable fight for them whatsoever. Trying to prevent that objective time from going in. Mate doesn't even have a Primal Rage. Got an emergency Doomfist coming in from Godman, quickly taken care of. Searchy bouncing around as the Lucio. They only manage to get down to 2 minutes and 55. So that's a quite larger difference than looking for Org would have liked.
That's it. The only thing I'm left with after that second attack round is questions, and there are no answers to be found. The only response is a full cap here from both teams, as looking for Org is going to set up on the attack, but ultimate economy, something that we so highly praised on Kings Row, especially on the attack rounds for both these teams, it's just not here. Looking for Org, they throw an Earth Shatter into a shield. They're trying to Earth Shatter the Genji. They don't have the Transcendence. They throw a Graviton Surge on point when you're probably better off just giving up a tick and coming back in for that fight contest. There's so many questions here from looking for Org in terms of how they're playing their ultimates, and unfortunately, I don't see the reasoning behind certain plays. Brazil Gaming House, the same thing. You hold, you waste about 4 minutes, and you come back in, you finally cap, but it's not clean. And Brazil Gaming House, not the dominant team we kind of expected walking in here. Looking for Org, though, not taking advantage of the mistakes that BGH is making.
Looking for Org, though, are giving Brazil Gaming House a run for their money. Actual literal contenders' money at this point. They're giving them a real challenge. And Liko, you're starting to see the impatience from him. He's been getting picked through several fights. And when they lost Calero, who had Transcendence, a pivotal support ultimate you need for Dragon Blades, he just went in, and that was a big part of opening up Point B to give lots of success to Brazil Gaming House. As now the next round will start. The offense will start for Looking for Org, who only have 60 seconds. So Lowlife needs to get these picks to open up the offense here for Looking for Org.
It looks like they're unable to resurrect that pick as Lowlife got the first kill, and Liko's actually going to switch off the Junkrat to the Tracer. So they're right away finding that advantage. Godman going down, that deflect not up in time. They're going to find that play. Dudu looking for that 1v1, and we're not going to see that final blow come in through, but the defense is going to hold for the moment.
Yeah, Juju's not happy. He's getting body blocked from all the fighting going around on the point. Can't you see? Respect the 1v1, guys. But Juju is, has been winning a lot of these Widow engagements against Lowlife, and now that Liko's on the Tracer, that's a lot more aggression you're going to see from Brazil Gaming House to hold this point, as we're down to the last 14 seconds.
The problem is we're down to the last 10 seconds, as you mentioned, but they have no tanks here. Swarn not in mech, Neil, or Mate rather super very weak, and Godman, no ultimates here. They need to find the kill. Search gets taken out right away.
Oh no, they didn't even touch the point! No, not like this! Not like this, putting your head in your hands. Looking for Org had started their dive, but they had decided to go onto the high ground, and meanwhile there was some, Liko had dove the back line of Looking for Org, so there was probably a bit of a stall or stifle going on there, but Looking for Org don't manage to get any percentage points, so the winning condition is set for Brazil Gaming House to only get 1/3 of point A.
1/3 of point A, you don't touch point, you don't get that contest, you don't get the overtime, you don't get the fight, and regardless, even if they had gotten that contest, they had no resources, they had no ultimates, they had no players, their tanks were the only ones left alive. And Looking for Org now, they are playing for a draw here, as it's, again, nearly 3 minutes to prevent a single third of the point. That's a lot of time for not a lot of room, so Looking for Org here, up against the wall, they have to put on a defense here, a show for us, if you will. Brazil Gaming House a little bit happier with their showing. I don't necessarily think the first round was all that indicative of great play, but they have a chance to put it all behind them, take this map, put up 2-1 in the series. It's Looking for Org. They've stifled that dream of being perfect through a season. Now can they stifle the perfect run through Contenders in terms of just map or in terms of series wins? That remains to be seen. Pack round commences. 2 minutes 55 on the clock. Brazil Gaming House. Attack.
This is a more forgivable time bank to deal with. You can see Brazil Gaming House taking a different route. I didn't even know there was a door there. That's how uncommon to go out that door is, thinking there's a Widowmaker on the other side. And the dive will commence here for Brazil Gaming House. Every pick matters. Taking out 3 already. Now, taking out Lukavi will take out all the resources of Looking for Org, as they only need 20 or 33%, and Looking for Org are nowhere to be found. They actually just had a stroke and disappeared from the point. Brazil Gaming House take their second offense so easily.
Brazil Gaming House, that's as clean as you can go. And whatever happened on second point is a memory far gone, as Brazil Gaming House off a first push, off a clean attack. And what more can you do? Liko here with that play of the game, but it is irrelevant, as it is going to be BGH 2-1 in our series here. Map 4 on we go. And as clean as can be, the dash resets for days in Overwatch.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's what can you say?
That was satisfying to watch. I think those dash resets, like definition of Kriegasm in the chat. But Brazil Gaming House, we've talked about how they're challenged by Looking for Org, and now I think they're taking this way more seriously. They're being very proactive, coming out of different routes from the spawn to avoid those initial picks. And Looking for Org, with the only minute that they had, it's unfortunate they couldn't do anything, but 1 minute time bank is just so unforgivable.
I think one of the things, and this is something I not to be a broken record, but we've said this before. Looking for Org has not taken the Widow duel. That term itself is a bit of a misnomer, but that said, they haven't really played that Widow versus Widow situation at all. Lowlife has looked uncomfortable in the Widowmaker slot, and Dudu has not. Dudu, actually, we've highlighted this before in other broadcasts, but Dudu has been a great Widowmaker throughout South American Contenders, regularly being the best in the matchup. And Looking for Org definitely on the weaker side of it. So when it comes to Widowmaker points or Widowmaker maps, really at a disadvantage, and we saw it here on Temple of Anubis. It's going to be due to just taking that, and Lowlife unable to really do anything. I think he got maybe one opening final blow to do something like 4 or 5, and so Brazil Gaming House off the back of basically full advantage on that first point, take the map, and don't look back.
The only time we saw Dudu really get challenged by another sniper or looking for Org entirely is on King's Row when looking for Org brought the fight to Dudu. Whether it's Godman on the Ferris sitting on top of him, or if it's Lowlife on the Hanzo climbing up after Dudu. Closing that distance between yourself and Dudu is how you're going to stop Dudu from being Dudu. Or more like, that kind of sounds like he's bad, but stopping him from being great is what I meant. And now that you have maps like Temple of Anubis, where Widowmakers, it's such a long distance you have to close, this is where looking for Org we're struggling. But on maps like King's Row, I think that went a lot better for looking for Org in terms of their aggression. But we're getting into the 4th map. Rialto will be chosen. And it's still not a losable situation for looking for Org. It's only 2-1 for Brazil Gaming House. But I think Brazil Gaming House taking this match a lot more seriously, trying a lot harder than they did, could close out the series right here.
I mean, Rialto is an interesting selection, especially because we just said, like, Widowmaker has been kind of the odd situation here. I guess they're kind of expecting the Pharah Hanzo, which can also work here on Rialto. That is not to say that it's impossible. It's just that Rialto itself is so sniper favored that you kind of expect a different look. I mean, this pick is a very, very strange pick. That said, I mean, the escort maps in the pool are very Widow-centric. We talk about Route 66, which basically can be won by Widowmaker. We talk about Rialto. This one here has a little bit more flexibility, but it's still so very tough. And now looking for Org, they have their work cut out for them. And if you're Brazil Gaming House, you're kind of breathing a sigh of relief. It's a Widowmaker map, and we know Lowlife is not really comfortable taking that 1v1. We know that Dudu has done a great job in zoning out players. Pharah, yeah, you can play in the sky, but realistically, what are you gonna do? So Rialto is an odd selection for sure.
Well, on defensive maps, like I've already said at the beginning, King's Row and Rialto, Brazil Gaming House love to run this 3-2-1, triple tank, double DPS, usually double snipers, with a single support. And this is where it's been their weakest point. We saw it on King's Row. Every time they ran the 3-2-1, they've lost the first and only fight. And I assume they're going to try this again on Rialto. And they had actually ran this 3-2-1 on defense on Rialto in their last match. I couldn't remember against what team, but it didn't work. They lost point A within the first fight, and point A is one of those situations that you can fully hold, especially on a map like Rialto.
I mean, how many times have we said, and they full hold here on this first point? But there's going to be BGH taking that defensive look early on. So it has been consistent. They will defend again. He's looking for Org, looking for that. They need to tie it up here. Again, this is map 4. We want to see that map 5 here. Brazil Gaming House, they have an opportunity to shut them out and cement their place as first in their group. Well, we're looking for Org, turn it around. It's the battle of the undefeated. Here on map 4, it's for it all. So, the gates open, the attack commences. Looking for Org, look, tie it up.
And that's that 3-2-1 that we just spoke about from Brazil Gaming House, holding that high ground, the double snipers, looking for those initial picks, and looking for Org, seeing that coming. They have already Godman looking for the concussive blast, and you have Lowlife finding an angle behind possibly the supports, gets right past the shield. Has to be careful, though, of the hook of Calero, as looking for Org are just advancing the payload, and Brazil Gaming House only now are just going to try and stop it.
Brazil Gaming House, they're taking that first fight. It's going to be the Pharah, as we mentioned, kind of going on Liko on the Hanzo, so that double sniper is something that BGH continues to run. We expected it. Honorado. Oh, hello.
Hello?
Oh, no!
He doesn't
You
finish
can't!
it!
Oh,
You
my
can't!
goodness. You have to hit those
He
shots,
loses this.
Lowlife.
Okay, he did it.
Oh, my God. That is not clean. Oh, Lowlife.
he got so greedy there. That's so funny. Looking for Org, though. Advancing the payload, but they get kind of stopped here by a Dragon Strike. Brazil Gaming House have gotten the cleanup they wanted, and the 3-2-1 actually sustains here.
As that fight started, so it ends with a missed shuriken to the head, a stalled kill, and then looking for Org dropped to a man. Oh my goodness, please, Lowlife.
It's like the one shuriken that missed. I don't know how that. I don't play Genji, but I feel like that should be a finish. But
Here's the thing. If you're Genji and you fan of blades and dash, it's an insta kill on 200 HP targets. Don't use your left click. Oh my god. Anyway.
Okay, we'll stop being mean. We're bullies right now. Looking for Oric. I've set up here another fight. Look at Mate. He's just charging right at them with the Earth Shatter. The shield finally drops for Neil, and now they could solidify this kill onto Calero. The barrage at the top will help out the battle to get point A. And looking for Org. Looking good. Maybe one last contest here could come out of Brazil Gaming House. But Dudu at the top here, and even a Dragon Strike to assist. It's only the DPS here, and Lowlife still decides to use the Blade, only to finish off the last 3 members of Brazil Gaming House.
I feel regardless of what happened, we won't say full hold here, but Lowlife was so embarrassed by that lack of a kill that he had to do a flashy blade to sort of turn it around. And I mean, I think we're done now in terms of flaming Lowlife, but man, that is such an awkward play. That Earth Shatter, though, to really end it up, it captures one. It's enough, though, to really space it out and provide a lot of space to come back in with the barrage, get a couple of kills, and BGH, though they do pull out a couple more ults from looking for Org, they do give up point A. So that is going to be now self-destruct in as they want to do that turnaround for that Earth Shatter, perhaps. Not really there. It's going to be now the fight continuing. Self-destruct, not going to find any kills. Looking for Org, continue to push forward.
And Liko onto this McCree. This is one of his pocket picks that are so good, especially on control maps. And a Graviton launch here from Suarin. It does catch a bunch of people from Brazil Gaming House. To follow up is almost there, but Dudu is actually on a crossfire. Takes out one. Actually, both DPSs are out from looking for Org. They're still looking to engage the front line, trying to sustain at this point as Mate's shield is broken. This is not a good situation for looking for Org. And the hammer comes down, but with his teammates kind of missing, this won't be as clean as he would have liked.
Heinun is going to be committed, and they're actually going to win the fight likely off of that. Yep, it zones out the shield, breaks it down. Mate gets a kill, but not enough, as Lowlife will go down himself. And finally, Godman gonna be the one taking a walk off a short pier or bridge boat into a canal. And that's a reset there from from looking for Org rather. BGH now setting up aggressively on their defense. They find themselves with 2 minutes 47 left on the clock as they have basically nothing to work with here. Only the Dragon Strike and the Valkyrie looking for Org walking up slowly, trying to find their advantage.
Godman has that Dragon Strike, as you said, but Calero's there to defend against that with the Transcendence and sent in right away. Calero doesn't decide to use it. They're not really in any danger. More of a zoning ultimate than anything. Meanwhile, Dudu already with 2 picks, looking for Mario. Gets the dink on the Lowlife, who is dashing towards him for the finish. Brazil Gaming House are untouchable here.
Lowlife versus Dudu. That's all I'm going to put on that one. It's going to be a reset now for looking for. They do have the Blade coming up. They do have the Graviton Surge. Calero, no Transcendence available. So they do have a win condition available for themselves. Godman just sort of standing up in the corner there, trying to spam out, trying to find that final blow. Nothing going. Now it's going to be looking for Org, setting up their attack run. They have an opportunity to win this fight right out if the Graviton Surge is good.
And you got a Shatter win condition too, and both shields are really low. That Graviton launched long range from Swarin, and you can see looking for Org are feeding into it, including a blade from Lowlife that was just invested. Great job, and Calero had used the Transcendence earlier. Well, a little kick from behind, but Calero had used his Transcendence earlier, so that was not able to keep Brazil Gaming House sustained for that one. But point B will be the last fight here for Brazil Gaming House if they want to have a stop here. 1 minute 20 left.
As that replay just finishes up here, the Earth Shatter's huge! It captures 3, they got the kill on the tank, the support goes down as well, and now Searchy trying to find those volleys off to get the remainder of the cleanup, as the Transcendence is committed. They're trying to win this point right out here, Lemon, and it's only 2 left on the point. It is going to be the defense trying to just solidify. As 60 seconds remaining, that Gong calls out, and Liko finds the headshot. That will actually push them back all the way. And unfortunately for looking for Org, they're unable to turn their advantage. They lose that fight out when they arguably should have won it.
And some swaps coming in mainly. Dudu back into that Brigida, that's sort of his role, which actually he was on fire as the Widowmaker, and now he wants to assist his tanks more, especially Neil now that he has the Shatter. They're so good at coordinating those stuns, and Lowlife switching to the Fair to counter that exact Brigida role. As 30 seconds, this is the last fight for looking for Org, and if they don't make it, this is going to be a bad distance to make up for. Liko now launches the Dragon Strike into the combination, but the responding Dragon Strike from Godman not able to find as many kills as he would have liked. Neil slams down the Shatter. Calero keeps him up. Mate somehow gets resurrected in the middle of all of that as the last seconds come in. Lukavi's the only one that can touch the payload, but this will be the end of the road for Looking for Org on their offense. Brazil Gaming House have set the pillar of being the best South American team in Overwatch.
There's an opportunity here for Looking for Org. They have a chance to hold here. Otherwise, they will have to end group stages second in their group. Not a lot to work with. They do go through first, but halfway through second, a little bit further than that, actually, nearly that full cap. And that last fight on second where they commit the Transcendence, they commit an Earth Shatter, and they just all fall, may come back to haunt them as Brazil Gaming House now. Will they finish undefeated in terms of series in their group, in the group stages? Will they drop map 4 where we head to a map 5? Time for the defense now. Looking for Org will have to be strong, because it's going to be the Rialto defense. Really, that's a really nice view.
Ooh, the camera work. Mwah.
I would love to go to Italy, just like sort of hang out on the canals one day.
I don't
Kinda
want
cool.
a robot to drive my boat, though. That's the only thing I will say no, because if he falls into the water, I won't be able to. It'll be a little zappy, you know?
Actually, speaking of falling into the water, how confusing is it that we don't have a map where anyone can swim? Is everyone in Overwatch just unable to swim? They just drown as soon as they
You can
drop in the water?
fly, you can do all these ultimates, you're pretty much superhuman, but swimming, not
a little-
taught in hero school.
No, I guess not. Or in villain school either.
Attackers incoming.
Villains?
See,
Oh yeah, I guess there are some
yeah.
villains.
So I think this is what the villains need to do to be on top, is they learn to swim, and then Overwatch is defeated forever because pools are just not able to. They'll just sit in the water, and then maps like Rialto will be theirs for the taking. It's a foolproof plan. Foolproof.
Well, maybe like Aquaman will be the next hero in Overwatch, and then he'll show everybody how to talk to fish and swim, maybe.
Yeah,
5,
I can see that happening. I can see that happening.
3,
BGH, a little less cavalier than we are. It will be their attack run. And there. That's okay. Well, that's a first pick off, I guess.
Okay, I was gonna say Brazil Gaming House are running solo heal Lucio at the time. Alamong just getting to the Mercy now, so that was maybe not what they wanted to run right off the bat. The swaps coming in, Liko getting picked off the might be a little triggering, but Looking for Org though, they're running the 3-2-1. I was a little bit worried about Lukavi, the solo heal. We'll see if Looking for Org can pull this off.
It's going to be the shield break right there, and Liko finds the first kill on Matei. They're going to be able to resurrect it. The cancel's not there in time, but in the meanwhile, low life going down yet again due to the advantage every time.
And the shield break, Brazil Gaming House coming in like a train, getting all those kills once Mate was dropped. And now you got the Swarren sort of out of position. He's going to get demeched, and unfortunately Lukavi gets dragged into that messy situation. Brazil Gaming House win the fight, but they still have one more engagement to go to get point A. And Looking for Org, not really going for swaps off of this 3-2-1.
They're going to get the resurrect off, but here's the thing. There's no real ultimate economy here for the defense. Looking for Org, they're working with absolutely nothing. As a Dragon Star just finds their wall through, and Matei gets picked off right away. That's going to be point A to Looking for Org's loss. And Brazil Gaming House, the cleanup is in. Lemon Kiwi, this is going to be point B now for us.
Oh, come on, give me the whole hog. I want to see it. Nope, he's just going to use the hook to melee someone to death. But point A earned just as easily as it was to get here. And Brazil Gaming House looks so good. Everyone is on fire. Looking for Org. Now going to go through a lot of swaps, not like in the 3-2-1, going back to the 2-2-2, and surprising Swarren, maybe close to self-destruct, doesn't want to go for the Zarya, for the Graviton, combination with Godman, who has that ready to go.
I think the other thing too, with the reason the Diva rather, is look how much damage BGH has that can be nullified with the Matrix. It's a lot here. The Hanzo, the Widowmaker, the Roadhog, just the whole kit and caboodle, as it were. So the Diva is such a strong pick here. Absolutely self-destruct. Kind of stuck in place. It's gonna find a kill. Now Lemon. Oh no.
This is unfortunate. Yeah, there's you got double snipers against a Pharah. Low Life is not having too much fun on that already. And especially on this particular archway, Brazil Gaming House are so good at positioning their snipers to keep them out of line of sight, which is mainly making Godman's job so hard.
Honorado is not demeched. Oh, that's going to come back to haunt them. Lukavi did a great job of stalling out as long as possible, but Honorado just getting their ult economy. I mean, they already have the Mercy ultimate, so it's not like they need any more, but Supercharger committed. I mean, this last fight underway.
Okay, we got a self-destruct at the back, finding Dudu, huge part here of the start of something good from looking for Org, but Calero's using the whole hog, it's pushing everybody away to stop this payload. Are Brazil Gaming House going to end this series right here, 3-1, or with looking for Org? Are they looking for a miracle? Liko, the unstoppable DPS, best Hanzo in South America, launches the Dragon Strike right through the middle as soon as the Transcendence is over, getting the finishing blows, having a bit of trouble against the Baby Diva, but nonetheless, Brazil Gaming House about to finish this one clean, 3-1.
3-1, and looking for Org, it's still a loss, but they have to look at it and say, yes, we can hang with the big boys of South American contenders. Low Life with that play of the game, it's likely that Dragon Blade
I thought he was AFK.
into the Graviton Surge.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, did I? But right into the Graviton, that helps a lot when they're all grouped up like that.
Yeah, it's going to be the last cleanup, and he's going to find the back of Dudu. It's going to be a final kill there. So BGH, they win out here. They don't get that perfect map series or map wins. They do drop 1. And yet, even that said, though, they will go into playoffs with a map differential of basically everything in 1. They only lose one map so far.
This was the battle of first seed, and this was important for both teams. And Brazil Gaming House now officially have solidified themselves as the first seed. And although they don't get the historical title of the undefeated, technically in maps, in Contenders history, they do go into first seed in the playoffs. And looking for Org, I mean, they got to be proud of themselves to give Brazil Gaming House that much trouble. But who's going to give us a little bit more trouble is the analyst desk. Boop, Ham, and Hurix, take it away.
Oh, Levin, you know it. I love causing trouble. There's always a little guy inside of me that just is going, you know, so we're going to go ahead and talk about some stuff now that that's over. So the second half was a little bit more of the same, looking for Org being competitive, but not quite. That King's Row magic never came back, right, Ham?
Seal the deal, man.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so I think that's the mark of a newer team, right? It's just, it's that longevity, it's that endurance, and the discipline that BGH offers help them overcome that part for themselves.
Yeah, 100%. You especially saw it in the approaches to the 3rd and 4th round of Anubis. I mean, well, first we're just going to say LFO doing really well, bringing out that Reaper, really frustrating BGH to the point where Honorato by himself, he was like 1v6, throws the Diva mech just because he's so frustrated and angry. I'm like, you done good, LFO. However, unfortunately, like you said, Boop, it's not quite enough to get that extra, last 1% to take the win on Anubis, especially when we saw Low Life on round 3 on LFO's attacking round get that early pickoff onto Liko's Junkrat, who had caused them so much trouble on their own attacking phase. I mean, when you look at the point B attacks on the first couple of rounds, it's like, oh, it's pretty comparable. They fought for about the same time, but the reason that BGH had such a huge advantage was because of LFO's difficulty in capping that first point. They were nearly full health, just managed to kind of get things together because Liko's Junkrat was killing their backline constantly. We fast forward to round 3, we get that opening pick, nothing.
Yep.
No capitalization. You should be using that dive mobility to jump on. South America is all about that dive, and we didn't really see that come through.
And Hurix, that's a really good transition because number one, I got to give you some props. You predicted almost everything today. The only thing you got wrong was the 5-game set. But you predicted the King's Row victory for LFO. You also predicted, and I didn't give you a chance for this, but I want the whole world to know that he said on point B, both of these teams are going to play Reaper. So that's awesome. But he also, you know, we also talked about that last dive, the difference between how LFO comes to dive and how BGH does it.
Yeah, just a quick note about the Reaper. One of the other things that I think that was important, quite integral into that, was going to be which team was able to deal with it better. I expected either a Pharah or a Brig to come into play from Godman to be able to deal with Liko. They found some other ways to deal with it. Their point B was pretty solid, but as Ham mentioned, that point A was just not up to par. But moving on from there, I think when you look at the overtime pushes, there's a stark contrast there. I mean, you can see why BGH is where they are in the standings versus LFO right now because of that point exactly. You talk about their approach. You see LFO with the low tempo, very slow in their approach. You oftentimes see a lot of teams with the dive. It's got to be fast, got to be quick. You got to go for a soft dive, you know, throw everybody off. You're gonna want to dislodge the Orisa very quickly. Look for the Zenyatta and pounce on top of that. Look for those opportunities. They were very slow. They never even got the soft dive. They never even took them out of their nest at all. They were just comfortable throughout their entire defense. BGH, when they went for an attack, they were quick. They pounced on top of it, and it was slow rotations from the Orisa defense that came from LFO that actually kind of hurt them in the end as well.
Bro, I mean, a 5-second point A take just
Come on,
Yeah.
bro.
it's just
Come on,
painful.
bro. The second the Winston
Rotations will
got
kill
that,
ya.
like, confirmed the kill.
Surgical
It's over. Yeah.
dive. I mean, like everybody, boom, boom, boom. You're gonna be like, the entire point A is just a giant grave.
So that is it for us today. Speaking of surgical, BGH is surgical through Group A, losing 1 total map throughout the entire season of South American Contenders. That is an achievement that cannot go understated. That is absolutely enormous. Locking up the #1 overall seed in Group A. Locking up the 2 seed, already didn't come in on the way here, but showed some good stuff, is looking for Org. Going in with the #2 seed, and we're going to find out what our #3 and 4 seeds are coming up next, because Breakdown and Looking for Tanks, formerly Nocturne, are going to go head-to-head in a playoff game. This is a win, and you're in. You lose, you're in relegation. The stakes cannot be higher, so stick with us. We're going to bring you that game. Ham and I will be casting that one, but there's going to be another great desk for you as well. So Breakdown, Looking for Tanks is next. Congratulations, BGH. Congratulations, Looking for Org. We'll see you in a couple weeks, but we got a hot one coming at you next time.